Okay, welcome back to part 2 of Rocket to Insanity. If you haven't heard the first part yet, I will put a link in the description to it. Otherwise, enjoy. It had been an unseasonably warm spring day in Ponyville. Every pony was out enjoying the temperate weather, from foals to colts and then some, as every pony went about their business. Lyra and Bon Bon chatting it up beneath their usual table at the cafe. Applejack selling the first harvest from Sweet Apple Acres as ponies lined up for those ruby delectables. And within the candy corner, Pinkie Pie was busy darting to and from the kitchen, baking up a storm. She glanced at the clock every now and then, frowning each time before the bell to the door finally rang open, and a haggard-looking Rainbow Dash entering the shop.
Rainbow, you're finally here! Oh, I've been so worried about you. You've been all mopsy-dopsy, so I thought I'd ask you to come visit me so I can make you feel extra super special and cheer you up. But you didn't show up when I thought you were going to, and I was all sad that you were going to stay coped up in your house all day. But then you came by and now you're here and now we can have some fun!
Dash merely looked at her blankly before shaking her head and stumbling forward. Whatever, Pinkie. What did you want me here for? The energetic earth pony bounced about the kitchen, over towards one of the many ovens of the candy corner before pulling the door down, reaching in and pulling out a tray of puffy, fluffy cupcakes with a generous lathering of icing upon them. She spun around, grinning widely as she showed off the baked goods to Dash.
I made you some cupcakes!
Dash paled. Her mind flashed back to the earliest of those nightmares, the most vivid, the most intense. A tray of cupcakes, tasting it, finding motor skills rapidly deteriorating, stumbling as her body shut down under the effects of some unknown drug. Pinkie Pie looming over her with that trademark grin, eyes gleaming as the world dimmed around her. And here it was, happening for real. Vision became hazed as the world began to spin around her, the Pegasus stumbling back and shaking her head, whispering under her breath, No, 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 no! She backed up, eyes wide with fear as she shook her head violently, looking around frantically for a way out, any way out. The window, the door. No, no, I don't want to. I'm not gonna let you. Let me out of here. Let me out of here! Pinkie merely tilted her head to the side quizzically, setting the tray down and lifting a few of the cakes out and plating them, bouncing over to the shivering Rainbow Dash and offering the plate to the Pegasus. Dash stared at them. They were the same color, same kind. Run, a voice in her head said. Run, you idiot, run! Ooh flashed out, smacking the plate out of Pinkie's hooves. I said I don't want them! I know what you're doing. It's not going to work. Pinkie Pie frowned at the discarded cupcakes, but in typical Pinkie fashion, she just shrugged and went about cleaning them out, humming to herself.
Maybe you don't like avocado icing. That's okay. I made plenty more so we can make some to your liking. Is that okay, Rainbow? Dash? I made plenty more so we can make some to your liking. Is that okay, Rainbow? Dash?
She glanced back at the Pegasus pony letting out panicked, whimpering noises, eyes fixated on the pony before her, pupils nearly pinpricks as fear and adrenaline coursed through her veins. She was pinned between Pinkie and the wall behind her, chest heaving with heavy gasps, her sleep-deprived, horror-filled mind playing the scene from her nightmares over and over again, of the saw rending through her flesh, cutting through bone. Run. Get away. Scalpel piercing her breast, dragging through her flesh down to her groin, flaying her open like some sick sort of piñata. Move. Just get away, get away, get away. She was hyperventilating by now, no longer seeing a long-time friend, but a horrific, sadistic butcher. Do something! And then she saw it, that shining, sharp protector just sitting there on the table next to her. The voice within her mind whispered to her like a seductive lover, sounding so wrong but so right at the same time. Kill her. Dash hesitated. Part of her wanted to scream, another to run, but yet another considered the request. Kill her before she kills you. Her mind was a maelstrom of conflicting thoughts, the Pegasus feeling sick to her stomach, weak in the knees, the beat of her own heart pounding within her head. Take the knife. She stared at it, hoofs slowly stretching out, trembling as part of her still ward. Still tried to reason. Take it. Take the knife. Tears streamed down her face as her hoof hovered above the handle of the tool-turned weapon, as if the last frayed strands of her sanity knew what was happening. knew that it was fighting a battle it was going to lose. "Take it!" She snatched it up, holding it in front of Pinkie Pie with shaking hooves, her ears splayed back against her head, hiccuping between sobs. "Just leave me alone, please, Pinkie Pie. Just leave me alone." Pinkie Pie looked at the knife being wielded by her friend for a moment before giggling and bouncing over towards Dash, whose heart sank as the filly rapidly approached.
Oh, Dash, you silly filly. You got me good with that one. Never one to turn down an opportunity to prank, huh?
She didn't think, her body acting on its own. A gasp, Pinkie Pie looking thunderstruck as Dash heaved, frozen in mid-strike, the silvery blade of the knife dripping with red ichor. Pinkie Pie brought up a hoof to her cheek, dabbing at the white cut, looking at her own blood-stained hoof.
Dash, what?
"I told you to stay away. Why couldn't you just stay away?"
Kill her.
"No. She's my friend. I can't. I
Kill her, and the hurting will stop.
Please, Pinkie, run. Just run. Oh God. Please, don't make me do this."
Kill her, 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 kill her.
What happened next was a blur. The memories fuzzy in Dash's mind. As Pinkie Pie tried to make sense of the sudden attack upon her person, Dash let out a chilling mix between a wail and a scream, catching the earth pony off guard as the blade darted forward, slashing through her neck, severing veins and arteries as a gout of crimson issued forth from the wound. Shock and surprise registered on Pinkie Pie's face as she gurgled blood, horm-hagging from the wound, staining her pink fur with the red hue of her life essence. Again and again the silver blade struck out Dash's speed, not restricted to her flight, as she plunged that blade into the filly at rapid pace, sobbing hysterically as she carved the squirming and flailing filly up. Through breast, through bone, Pinkie Pie's struggle slowly fading as her blood was spilt onto the floor of the Candy Corner's kitchen, pooling around her, splattering the Pegasus atop her with hot red fluid. "Just leave me alone," she screamed, without fear turning to rage. "You couldn't just go away, could you? You had to keep coming back." Pinkie's struggles grew weaker and weaker, her eyes wide with terror as tears streamed down her face. What did she do? Was it the icing? Did she use salt instead of sugar? Why? As those slowly gazing eyes stared up at Dash, the strikes of the blade grew slower and slower, the Pegasus finally plunging the implant deep into Pinkie's chest, searing through the filly's heart, ending her party once and for all. Dash heaved a breath, limbs shaking as she looked down upon her handiwork. Blood stained her fur and feathers, painting her a deep crimson. Wearing the life force of her former friend like some macabre outfit, she sobbed, letting out a wail as she realized the gravity of what she had just done. Arms wrapped around the butchered filly, Dash holding the still warm corpse of her friend tight. No, 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 no. I didn't. Oh, Celestia, no. What have I done? What did I do? Dash's body shook as her chest heaved with each gut-wrenching cry, suddenly letting go of Pinkie's body and letting out an ear-piercing shriek of terror as she looked at her own hoof. Blood and viscera coated them, dripping down through her fur, the scene straight from a horror movie laid before her eyes. She skittered backwards, slipping in the pool of blood of her own creation, slamming cheek first into the pile of gore before finally gaining purchase and dragging herself over against the farthest wall from Pinkie's still form. Her mind raced, thoughts running a mile a minute as she hiccuped, wide, terror-filled eyes staring at the scene made by her own hoof. Murder. She had committed murder on one of her own friends. It was unheard of. No pony had murdered another in hundreds of years. Voices within her mind clawed and whispered to her, the world spinning around her as time seemed to stand still, the last vestiges of her sanity being plucked apart one by one, until that final thread, finally, snapped. Hooves grasped at her head, matting her rainbow-colored mane down with blood and ichor. The Pegasus rocked back and forth in the bloodied kitchen as a crazed grin spread across her muzzle, humming disjointedly to herself. Dash threw her head back, curling legs against her chest as forelimbs wrapped around them. Psychotic laughter issuing forth from the speedster Pegasus. as her world shattered around her, psyche and spirit broken and splintered.